I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
Hey, this is Matt. Once again, we're about to another review. There's another paid request, this time for Derek. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting pretty much any type of videos, topics, reactions, commentaries, reviews, re-reviews, a list, randomness, whatever, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. I will try to get to it as soon as I can. And this is for Shanghai Knights from 2003. Of course, the sequel to Shanghai Noon. Once again, you have Jackie Chan and Owen Wilson coming back. The first Shanghai Noon did okay at the box office. I think that was around the time Mission Impossible 2 and other movies came out, and it got demolished a little bit compared to, say, Rush Hour. And I was saying, like, the Shanghai movies never made the money that the Rush Hour films did, which is probably one of the reasons why you never got a third Shanghai movie. I would say I like Rush Hour 1 and 2 more than these movies, but Shanghai Noon and Shanghai Knights, they're still pretty decent for American Jackie Chan films. I always liked Shanghai Noon. Shanghai Knights, I remember when I first saw it, I went, I don't know about this. But I warmed up to it a bit more. And I like it more than, say, Rush Hour 3. But again, my favorite Jackie Chan films would be ones like Operation Condor, Rumble in the Bronx, Super Cop. Really, really like Rush Hour 2, as well as the first one. But it was interesting, the director they got for this was not the director from the first movie. I think he was too busy. He might have been doing like Showtime with Eddie Murphy, Robert De Niro, or some other movie at that. But they got this guy who had directed the film Clay Pigeons. Very weird choice for this. And he would go on to direct Wedding Crashers and Fred Claus with Vince Vaughn. And then Wedding Crashers had Owen Wilson. So obviously, this is a movie where I think the action is better than Shanghai Noon, but I think the comedy is less successful. And I liked the action in the first movie, but I do think the comedy worked better in the first movie. I do think the first film, maybe it's because the characters are first meeting and getting to know each other. Maybe because Jackie in the Wild West, maybe you get a bit more humor out of it than being in Victorian England. It seems like a lot of times when they go overseas to England, I just don't find that funny. Maybe because they do a lot of the same tired jokes. Where, oh, they don't like Americans. Oh, they got bad teeth. Oh, this is just, it gets tiring and lazy. And maybe that's the thing. It's the same writers of the first movie, but I thought the comedy was more lazy here compared to the first. On the flip side, the action is more intricate, more in the style of Jackie Chan's Hong Kong films. They felt a bit more choreographed, a bit more busy, a bit more extended stuff going on. Now, the story of the film is that we have Jackie Chan's his character, Chan Wayne, his father, his sister are in China. They have this imperial seal that gives power to the emperor, which I think is a thing that they made up for the movie. And bad guys come, kill the dad, steal the seal. Sister needs to go find her brother. Or she's going to send a letter to him in America, and she's going to try to kill her father's murderer. Jackie Chan is now a sheriff. He's been very successful catching bad guys. I think in an early part of the script, they were going to show Jackie Chan as a sheriff catching some bad guys, but they cut it out because of budget and time. I think that would have been nice to see. You know, start out with a Jackie Chan action scene. That would have been nice. And I think in the showcase, him being a sheriff and the town loving him. And I just would have been a more of a welcome opening for me. I do like the idea that Owen Wilson's character, Roy, has these books written about like him versus the mummy, and, you know, labeled the Shanghai Kid as his sidekick, which annoys Jackie. Anyway, Jackie gets this puzzle box, and there's no saying that his father has passed away. And he wants to go to England to get to his sister, and apparently his father's murderer is there. Now, Lucy Liu does not come back. I don't know if they even asked her to come back. So they say, oh, she's busy in San Francisco. So again, no Lucy Liu. I do think Jackie Chan and Owen Wilson work well together. I do. I like the pairing of Jackie and Chris Tucker more in Rush Hour 1 and 2. But I do think Jackie and Owen, they're definitely off-kilter pairing. It's not a typical pairing you would expect. But yeah, I think because Jackie, with the action and intricacies of his choreography martial arts, they have Owen Wilson who's much more of a laid back, more of a talker. Just it makes it so that it's not a complete copy of the chemistry in Rush Hour, where Chris Tucker is very high energy and very with his verbal, while Owen Wilson is the opposite. Otherwise, it'd just be Rush Hour reject, you know, just a copy of Rush Hour. So the fact that it's a different type of pairing, I don't mind, and I don't mind Owen Wilson. I actually think he does pretty decent dramatic work. Behind Enemy Lines is fun. I recently saw No Escape. That was a pretty decent film. So I don't mind Owen Wilson. And I hope he's doing better. I think, I could be wrong, but I think years ago he tried to kill himself, from what I understand, or something like that. That's what I heard. Maybe it was just a rumor. If that's the case, I hope he's doing better. And like I said, they do work together well. Like when Jackie gets to New York and there's Owen Wilson, and Jackie puts his fingers in his back going, "Reach for the sky, Roy." What? I said, "Reach for the sky, Roy." And Jackie's smiling, and then he turns, and you really get the idea they're still friends. And that's, I thought, the nice heart to the film. That was make the characters work. Not really the comedy that the writers wrote for them, but it's more this, you can feel the heart and the care that these characters do enjoy each other as friends. And like I said, with each of the action fight scenes, it's a bit more intricate. It's a bit more elongated compared to the first film, whether it be the revolving door fight where he's got all these cops, almost like a Keystone Cops type of thing, and he's got to do this all around a revolving door, and he doesn't want to hurt the cops too much, so he's got to find a way to trap them, incapacitate them, if I say the word right. You have this fight when they're in England in the marketplace, where this little kid stole Owen Wilson's watch. They're chasing after him. These guys try to beat up the kid, and then Jackie has to fight him. I will give credit to the director. Either he let Jackie do what he wanted, or whatever the case, to actually shoot these scenes wide. So you can see Jackie doing these things. So like Jackie jumps on this sheet and makes the guy bounce up and go backward. Or Jackie's on this ladder and you see it come down like this. And you really get the scope of Jackie really doing this and the danger of doing that. Or having this big ass table on his back and flipping it over. And this bit with the umbrella, which I know Jackie's a big fan of Singing in the Rain. And lo and behold, when he's doing the umbrella stuff, the Singing in the Rain music starts being showcased in the soundtrack. I don't know if I'm just talking out of my ass, probably. I would assume that if Jackie ever talks about his American films, because usually he's very down on his American films, like he's not really a fan of the Rush Hour movies. I do think he's a fan of these movies. I could be wrong. But I don't really hear Jackie talking down about these movies. Shanghai Noon and Shanghai Knights. Because I do think maybe this humor he understands more compared to Chris Tucker and Brett Ratner's that type of humor. And the fact that Jackie, he got to be a cowboy, he got to be in old England. His character's interacting with a young kid who you find out to be his Charlie Chaplin. He's doing the umbrella stuff. And I give credit to the director, though, because there is a commentary track. There's two commentaries. One with the director, one with the writers. And the director mentioned that he purposely had it where he made sure that Jackie had more days than his usual American stuff to be able to fully flourish more of the fight scenes. And while no, they're not like the Rumble in the Bronx, Operation Condor, they're more in that direction compared to other American work like The Tuxedo, or The Medallion, or The Spy Next Door. Which, if you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm burping, but I'm might as well be puking. Like, those suck. I'm sorry. If you like the films, teach their own. The Tuxedo and The Medallion, Spy Next Door, keep my ass in front of all the doors, behind the doors, backdoor jamboree, bareback your face, wherever the fuck. Fuck those movies. Like, there's a fight in a library, and you know in the library they have that sliding ladder, and Jackie is blocking a sword with books, and then there's a little book he blocks the sword with, and he's on the ladder, and he's sliding back and forth, and slamming it down, trapping someone. Like I said, very much more intricate choreography compared to other American films that Jackie did. So that was nice to see. Jackie, the girl played Jackie Chan's sister. I didn't mind her as an actress. She seemed like a better fucking Mulan than the fucking Mulan they got in the live action film. Like, she seemed more Mulan-ish than the actual Mulan in the live action film. I'm like, they should have made a Mulan live action film at this time and have this girl star in it. Because she seemed better. She felt more Mulan to me than the stupid fucking movie they made a year or two ago. Oh, the kid who's the Charlie Chaplin? I did not realize that's Aaron Taylor Johnson. Who the fuck is that? The guy who 7 years later after this would be Kick-Ass in the movie Kick-Ass. He would also be Ford Brody in the 2014 Godzilla film. So yeah, the little kid is Aaron Taylor Johnson. I'm like, holy shit. And honestly, I think he's a better kid actor than he is older actors. The villain... The one guy who's a villain, who's a sword master, I could take or leave him. Donnie Yen is one of the villains, and that's one of my big critiques about this film. Donnie Yen was wasted. Absolutely fucking wasted. He's one of the main villains, but he barely pops up. He barely makes an impression as a villain. I'm sitting there going, why don't you give this guy more screen time, not this other guy? Why don't you give this guy much more screen time, much more meat to the bones of the character? It's like he doesn't pop up till like 30 some minutes, 40, that's what it felt like, and then he only pops up like 3 more times, and he has a really shitty... I was talking about how the other fights are pretty well done. The fight between him and Jackie Chan is shitty. It's shitty. Because there's no flow to the fight. It never centers on the fight. It's like they start fighting, and then it cuts to Owen Wilson on a horse with this other guy who was a cop, but he was fired. Oh, it's Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, who would create Sherlock Holmes, which you find out later. Or there's Jackie's sister fighting some people. And then it cuts back to Jackie and Donnie Yen fighting. And then there's some wire work. Why do you need wire work with these two guys? And it's just, let them go. Let them do their thing. Don't have any wire work. But I guess the people here didn't know who the fuck Donnie Yen is. And that's just, like, this is the only time Donnie Yen and Jackie Chan get to be on screen together. And a lousy... You look at Donnie Yen, you look at Flashpoint, you look at some of the action films he's done, and action scenes he's done. Yip Man, 1 and 2, and like, fuck. Even was a Legend of the Fist, that was a good one. You see, like, what he can do is like, oh, man. That's, I would say, the biggest disappointment with this film is how they handled Donnie Yen. Not much screen time, nothing really to... He was the Emperor's brother, or something that was cast out. Illegitimate brother cast out, and he wants to seal, and then he gets killed. Spoiler alert. Spoilers. Because the sister has a fucking firecracker thing, firework that she shoots. Donnie Yen gets blasted up and explodes. And he's beating Jackie Chan. Like, he's winning, and this is like, really? Really? What the fuck? So that was completely disappointing. And I mentioned the comedy. They do the bad teeth joke. There's the... I'm trying to remember the jokes now. They try to eat food, and the guy's like, will you like some spotted dick? What? This guy's asked you if I got the clap. No, the food is called spotted dick. Oh, the Royal Guard, that was part of the trailer, where, oh, you do anything, this guard won't do anything. But when he touches him, the guard knees Owen Wilson in the balls. Again, I just found the first film a bit funnier than this. I don't know, I thought the jokes seemed tired and lame and easy and just not really much cleverness to the script or to the jokes. I guess other than they throw in Jack the Ripper and they have Jackie's sister kick him off a bridge in less than 10 seconds, and then in subtitles you see her say, fucking loser. But they have to hide the fucking because it's PG-13. Which I don't know if someone would say fucking loser in this time period, but okay. That seemed like a... Well, I think even the writers, they literally said, this is our feminist moment. Okay. The sword fight between Jackie and the other guy, decent choreography, but it's a bit weird in the fact that, well, I guess weird and interesting that this guy is better than Jackie, and Jackie is losing. He keeps losing, and the guy keeps giving him the sword back, and then taking the sword, and giving the sword back, and taking the sword. Then finally he gives the sword back, and Jackie's like, well, I can't win, so I'm going to kill us both. We both go out the window, but thankfully Owen Wilson's there and catches Jackie. And I went, okay, that's different. it's unique and interesting, change of pace, but at the same time, just something about it rubs me the wrong way, and I can't really put my finger on it, or in it, or where the fuck the finger's going. I don't know. But it is nice to further showcase that partnership between these two characters. Like I said, their chemistry I think still works. I think they still work. It did seem like Jackie maybe was having fun doing this. Like when they have to dress up in costumes and Owen Wilson's telling them what to say. Okay, you gotta bob your head. Cheerio, cheerio. And Jackie's like, cheerio, cheerio. And he's laughing. This seems like a very genuine laugh that they kept in the movie. And I said other than the Donnie Yen fight, which, of all the fights to make shitty, how do you make that fight shitty? It's like almost like a... It's ridiculous to me. But yeah, like I said, I do think the action scenes, other than that, are better, more intricate choreography. But I do think the comedy took a few steps back. So I would still say I like the first one more. But I don't mind the sequel. I would give it at least like a 3 out of 5 stars at the very least. Like the first film I would give 3.5 or 4. Maybe like 3.5. Maybe like because like Rush Hour 2 I would give like 4. Maybe 4.5 because I really like Rush Hour 2. And then Rush Hour 1 I would give like 4. So maybe like Shanghai Noon I would give like 3.5. And this I would give like 3. It's not bad. You could do a lot worse. Like I said, if the comedy's written a bit better, a bit more clever than some of the obvious jokes they go with, or the just lame jokes. And like I said, if Donnie Yen was used much more appropriate, much better, more scenes, more meat to his bones as a villain, a better fight at the end. Like, why can't Owen Wilson fight the sword guy, and then Jackie's having this intricate fight with Donnie Yen? And have Donnie Yen be the guy who killed Jackie's father? Like, that's what I would do. I would have it where the two bad guys are at the beginning. The guy's doing the sword work. Maybe he's fighting the sister. And then Donnie Yen, there's like guards. Donnie Yen fights all the guards, showcase Donnie Yen's prowess as a martial artist. And then, kills the father and takes the seal, and both the bad guys leave. And so you have Royal Bannon. He's the one avoiding the swords. He can't fight with the sword. And that would make more sense for me, is that Roy doesn't know how to fight with the sword. So then the bad guy's like, okay, try it again. Come on, try it again. And then Roy's like running and fighting, and well, he can't. And then Jackie having this intricate fight with Donnie Yen, and you don't need wire work with these guys. Okay, they are the special effect. You don't need other shit around them. That's like one of my problems with the Forbidden Kingdom. You had Jackie Chan, you had Jet Li. They are their own special effect. You don't need wire works and effect. You don't need any of that shit. They know what they're doing. They can do it without all the extra bells and whistles. Don't put a hat on a hat. Okay? You got the cake. You got the great frosting. Don't put a bunch of other shit to ruin it. Okay? But, overall, decent sequel. So, with that said, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.